Hello everyone, and welcome to another showcase of redu.cloud. Today we are going to cover another group of YC startups, and the theme is private AI. To follow along, you need some kind of agent, like Cloud Code or Codex, and you need a redu.cloud account. After setting it up, go to the AI section and follow the instructions. So for the startups we are going to cover, we'll start with Memo. It's a memory for AI agents. And if you're using AI agents for a while now, you'll know that the biggest issue with AI agents is not the model, it's the memory. So I really hope that they'll solve this. For the next startup, we're gonna cover MindsDB. So it's a unified workspace where open source agents can work for you. And here is where we will see actual results of our deployment. And the last one is going to be Ollama. We are gonna use it to have a local LLM. So let's get started. Alright, so I'm using a very simple setup here. I just cloned all three repos. For MindsHub and Ollama, I'm gonna use Terminal, and for Memo, I'm gonna use Visual Studio Code with Cloud Code installed in both Pet and in Visual Studio Code. So all I'm gonna do is come here and type deploy this to redu. For the terminal version, for the Minds, I'm gonna open Cloud, and I'm gonna also type deploy this to redu. As of the Ollama, I'm gonna also get to Cloud Code, deploy this to redu, but also generate API key for Memo, generate API key that can be used for Memo and also for MindsHub. And I'm gonna press enter. So now I'm gonna wait for the agent to actually scan these repos and to suggest a good plan to deploy this. Alright, so after a few minutes, our agents returned with the plans. So here's the MindsHub. The agent actually suggested M1 large to be deployed, and it's raised from the medium because the VM does a lot of builds and 2 Python installs. So you can tell it to just keep M1 large, or you can tell it to use medium if you want. So I'm just gonna say yes, and for the LM key that it's suggesting, I'm gonna not do anything. Go skip out. For the out, I don't need it for this showcase. Okay, so for Ollama, let's see, it's asking for M1 large with 4 vCPU and 8 GB also, and for the, let's see, it has no built-in API key. Okay. Yeah, it's gonna ask me in the next turn. Okay, so I'm just gonna say YOLO for this one. For the API key, enforced sure. For the key storage, I'm just gonna say just show me the key, yes. And let's see, yes, I'm just gonna submit no sensors. I'm happy with that. For the memo, let's see here. Okay, so it opened right in this plan. So let's see, M large is fine, and we can actually see all the endpoints here that it will try to deploy. So I'm just gonna say yes for this. I am happy with this setup, and I'm gonna say to deploy without a key, and I'm gonna paste it later when the deployment is done. Okay, so while waiting, let's check other plans. So here we can see that this deployment is a lot simpler, and it's just gonna have one VM with 8 GB of RAM and few Python and Node.js inside of the Docker Compose. And for the Ollama, it's gonna be also very simple setup too. So the only one that's actually more difficult here is gonna be Memo. However, Ollama will need to get the models to run this, so we'll see. I'm gonna say yes for this, and let's see if I'm asked somewhere else. No, okay. Alright, so after a few minutes we can see some issues. MindsHub deployment failed, and if we scroll a bit, we can see the reason for it. So the reason here is because of the virtual environment for Python. The agent, when creating Dockerfile, wrongly did it, so now it needs to fix it. And it proposed the fix, and the only thing that we need to do is to say yes. So this is one of the best features of redu.cloud. Failed deployments are able to self-heal themselves to success. And this is really important because issues like this happen because you might forget some type of hard-coded variable in your code, or there are multiple issues that can happen. So agent being able to automatically solve these things is a very big deal. Ollama also failed, and for Ollama specifically, the issue was, let's see, the TLS unrecognized name. Okay, so I'm just gonna tell it, yeah, fix, and I'm not gonna care about it. Self-healing feature is really important because this is something you cannot easily do on platforms like AWS, for example. Because on AWS you have so many issues with permissions and many calls are read-only, so you're not able to really self-heal like this because of that. We made it safe, so that's the reason that we are able to do this. And for other platforms, so like for example Vercel, this is not doable because Vercel is serverless. It doesn't have a state. You cannot SSH to it and fix the issues. So Redu is currently the only platform, only cloud that actually allows you to do these things. Okay, so the memo API won't boot without the LM key. So I'm just gonna do like a placeholder key or something, and then I'm gonna replace it with the proper key later when Ollama is deployed. Alright, so there is another issue from MindsHub, and here we can see that it struggles deploying Hermes agent. And the reason is it didn't do apt-get update before, so it doesn't have that library properly. So I'm just gonna tell it to redeploy it again, so that's fine. Other two are done. So one thing that I'm gonna do here is that I'm gonna tell it to pull this embedding model 2 because we need it for memo. So I'm gonna say yes, pull embedding model 2. So this is, by the way, called mutation because the deployment is done and I'm telling it to do something after on it. So it's gonna SSH to that instance and do this stuff. And okay, Ollama 3.2 is gonna be the model, which is great. And I'm gonna save this so I can use it later for those two. So let's wait for the MindsHub to be finished and let's see. While waiting, because I had that API key, I can just tell it to come here and use this API key for Ollama, and I'm gonna say it's local. Okay, and there is a course issue, so I'm gonna tell it and fix that course issue. This is great. So this actually helps a lot with DevOps. Okay, and just gonna do this. So it will probably recreate this VM, but we'll see. Alright, so the deployments are finished. The only thing that's left here is to tell the API key. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go and find the API key. It should be somewhere here. Yeah. Okay. And I'm gonna tell it to use this API key. It's from local Ollama. You can find it on the private network and do enter. So let's wait for this to be finished and let's see. Okay, so while waiting, I can show you the issues it had, and it took 5 retries to actually build this. So the first issue was with virtual env in Python. The second one is with Hermes agent Git dependency. Then there was an issue with health check kit. It used the wrong API route. The issue was with Nginx then, with v1 and API v1. And next there was an issue with index web HTML. So those are the 5 iterations it had to do to actually fix this. Because this is on private network, it can actually use just the private IP to connect Ollama to it using this module. Alright, so all deployments are done. Let's go and test them out. So first I'm gonna click on Memo, and I can see that everything is set up properly. So if I click here, I can see that there is a way to do this. And yeah, let's see in settings. Yes. Configuration. Yes, here. So it's using OpenAI key, but it's actually using that other thing that we had, because I think, if I remember properly, yes, there is no other option, but if you put OpenAI, it will work. Okay. I, by the way, didn't know that. Agent told me. Okay. So let's do now the next one. This is the Minds. Okay. Let's see. Click to start. Continue and agree. Okay. So because we had that set up, it's working. I'm gonna come back to it after this. Let's go for Ollama and check it too. So I'm gonna go here, go there. Okay, it's working. So now I should be able to do something like tell me about redu. Okay, this is good. So error network attempting to fetch, and actually it's everywhere. So let's go and fix that. I'm gonna go and do a mutation here. So this is here. I have this error when I try to access memories page. It should fix it for it should fix it everywhere based on that same error, but we'll see. It knows better than me how this stuff works. Okay, after 3 minutes, it found the fix. So the problem was in Docker Compose, there was this line missing, and it's mostly because of the Nginx. So what I'm gonna say is just allow it to SSH and just fix it, because it's the fastest. I do not want to redeploy it again. So I'm just gonna allow it, and that should fix it. Okay, and fix is done. Let's go and refresh the page. Okay, nice. So memory is not returning issues. We can see skills and everything else. So let's go to this project and do something like tell me about redu. And let's see what Anton is taking. Okay, it finished and returned something. Not really useful, and not really high quality, but sure. I mean, I cannot blame Minds cowork here. Alright, so this is it. We have template system, we have good memory, and we have local LLMs. So whole local AI, private AI setup. And once again, check out those amazing projects: Memo, Minds Hub, Cowork, and Ollama. and see you in the next video.